waited for me? No, I feel special.
You should. All right, looks like we're in business there.
Score.
Okay. Welcome everybody to the Thursday, August 1st, 2024 meeting of the City Council Business and Community Affairs Committee. Today we have two items on the agenda. The first one being an update on the 820 Solar Initiative Program. And I believe that we have a staff presentation. So I'll go ahead and turn it over from Sottenbeck.
Thank you. We do have a staff presentation because I don't know, I seem to live with PowerPoint, whatever. Anyway, I'm really excited to share this with you. We do have an update. So first I want to talk about why we did it. You probably remember, oh, you were new, you may not. So why did we do it? Great. Let me just tell you then. Well, why we did it is because soon we're going to be at the 1.5 degree temperature mark with Celsius. That's one of the things. Solar is sustainable, renewable, and plentiful, especially in Oklahoma, right? We definitely have a lot of sun. The power grid resiliency and sustainability is a big deal, right? How many of us have suffered through rolling blackouts? Recently, here in Norman in the summer, we've had them, right? So it is a thing. It is a thing. The more that we can pull off the grid, the better it is for people who are still on the grid, and the better for the people who are off of it, right? Energy costs and bills. Didn't we just get an increase July 1? Yay, right? And that's not going to slow down. I mean, it's not. And, well, never mind. It's not going to slow down. It just keeps going up. And then, of course, council signed on to the Mayor's Climate Protection Agreement. You guys know that, right? Because I've talked about it quite a bit. Well, I've talked about it quite a bit. Actually, when you came to Citizens Academy, I kind of touched on it. So you do know a little bit about it. But we also, you guys signed on for the Ready for 100, which is a little bit of a quicker kind of timeline to decarb or to get away from carbon-based energy sources. And then finally, right now, we're very lucky because we still have a lot of tax credits and incentives to help businesses and residents and nonprofits to do this. So let's strike while the iron's hot. That's what you guys wanted to do, and that's what we did. I'm going to show this because I'm going to show it every time I talk about getting off the grid. These are the billion-dollar disasters from the 80s to 2023. You'll notice in 2023, there were $28 billion disasters. These are all normalized dollars to 2023 dollars. 2024, as of July 9th, I just pulled the information this morning. As of July 9th in 2024, we have already had $15 billion disasters. So we are definitely on track to be, if not equal to 2023, maybe a little over. So that's why it's important. So what is the Solar Initiative? Great, you told us why we did it, but what is it? What are we doing? Well, what we're doing is an education program and a group purchasing program. So we're gonna educate residents, business community, all of our community members about what solar is, why it's important, what we can do to reduce energy uses at home, whether that's efficiency, etc. But we're also going to provide a pretty big discount because the contractor has a pretty big pool, right, of contacts that they can use. All we had to do as the city, if you recall, was promote and be a part of the coalition, which has been pretty good. One of the cool things that the coalition is going to do, you'll notice in the residential area, residential, commercial, nonprofit, and public can all benefit. But in the residential area, we also have an LMI piece. And I'm pretty excited about that. I've sent out a couple of emails, or at least one, asking for dates that we can meet because the coalition is going to sit down and start talking about how that piece looks. We get to do that because we're August 1st, right? And if you recall, another exciting piece about it is that shortened timeline. And the reason we have the shortened timeline is to get that excitement, helps to get the group pulling, etc. Limited time, August 31st. August 31st, so we have 30 days to get all the contacts in. I had a question from someone earlier today about, oh my God, 30 days. Is that gonna be enough time to get the contacts in? You know, I don't know. I wish I had a magic ball and I could definitely tell you I'm not a prognosticator, but I will tell you this. 820 told me we have already surpassed the number of contacts that the Solarize Oklahoma City campaign got for the entire campaign. So that's huge. We're also moving into the hottest month in Oklahoma, right? And we just got that lovely increase on our bills. So I feel pretty excited. I feel like hopeful. I know people say you're always optimistic. What a great way to live, right? So here are the benefits. Everybody gets a discount. There's a 5 to 8 year return on investment for commercial. That's a big deal. Commercial users are our biggest users. It would be nice to remove some of that from the grid. Nonprofit and municipal. Why did I put municipal up there? Because we can take advantage of this initiative as well. And that's what we're actually researching right now. As you know, I mentioned it before, I don't know if you remember, but we got an allocation from the Department of Energy for the EECBG, and this could be a way to electrify one or more of our buildings. It's not a huge amount of money, but we can leverage that money with these savings to actually do something cool for us too. Don't forget, at the end of it all, at the very end, 820 is also going to gift us a community project whereby you guys had thought we could have community members come and vote and talk about what we wanted to do for our community with that gift that they're gonna give us. Low to moderate income, we have a $25,000 base. That's guaranteed in there. 820 is actually actively soliciting donations from other members to try to bump that up. And like I said, the coalition is gonna meet to determine what we're gonna best use that money for, you know. I'm not sure what that program looks like yet, but there are many ways that it can actually help quite a few people. I don't know, I'm excited. Here are the pricings. We did an RFP, if you recall, we did a request for proposals. We got 2 responses. 820 had the lowest price. It had American-made materials, and they also gave us that guaranteed $25,000 for the LMI, so that was a big, big thing for us, and that's why we chose them.
Oklahoma company as well.
That's exactly right. They are an Oklahoma company, and their name is really cool. I know that really doesn't matter, but 820 is the amount of time it takes for a photon to go from the sun to the earth. So, I mean, wow. All right, anyway, this is where we're at. This is the update you've been waiting for. 589.74 kilowatts have been closed. What does that mean? Those are contracts that have been signed. We've got over, and these numbers are from last week. That's when the number of submissions has actually gone up another 100, so that's exciting. Designs, and then we're at 36 won deals. 7 are currently installed. Hot dog. Actually, Councilmember Grant went through the process too, so that's kind of cool. I was excited to read about that. Chris loves graphics, and I do appreciate that. And when he was talking to me today about how cool it would be to show you guys, you know, maybe a graph or something about how close we are to our goal, I said to him, "You're such an engineer." But I was thinking he meant like a graph. No, he means like a graph. This is a great idea. Absolutely. Let's have a thermometer with a goal. And in fact, I'm going to put this on our website so that we can show as we go each week, you know, how much closer we are. Let's pump up the excitement. This other kudo here, I'm pretty excited about that. We just got it today by somebody who had their panels installed last week while they were working in the heat. It's really nice. Somebody actually wrote to commend this work group that came out to their house to install the panels. That's, you know, anytime you take a kudo to give a good, it must be a really good, right? We're really quick to complain, but to give that credit, I don't know, that was nice. And like I said, currently we have more contacts than the entire Solarize OKC program. And remember, they were 1.4, not even an entire 1.4 megawatt. They were 1.38 something. So we could beat them. Oh, I think we're going to, but we'll get to that in a minute. We're on the home stretch, like I said, 30 days to get the rest of the contacts. That's the end. That's people have to, doesn't matter what kind of people, commercial, residential, nonprofit, doesn't matter. Everybody has to go to that portal and at least get their name on the list by the 31st of August. After that, October 31st is the deadline for contracts with residential. That's a shortened time because it's not as hard to work through that space. December 31st for commercial and nonprofit, that's a little more difficult to meander through all the tax and different strategies to get that done. And then the goal, not a hard deadline, just a goal, but our goal is to get all the installations done by the end of Earth Month, right? All right, but if it doesn't, that's okay, because it will be done by the end of Green Norman Eco Month, and you know I really love that, so here we go. These, I just wanted to show pictures of our very first deals in each section, okay? So the first nonprofit was Norman High School. That is 263 kilowatts for that particular project. The first commercial that signed the contract, they haven't installed them yet, is at the JMC office building. It's on Crossroads Boulevard. And the first residential was Michael and Tommy Phillips. I'm excited that they were also the first because you know these folks, this family, they come to a lot of our events. They've been to the Artful Inlets and the walkthrough. They've been to cleanups. So I'm excited that they also participated with solar panels. I know that I can't say which ones directly, but I do know that several big commercial projects are right on the tipping point, and they have met that August 31st contract deadline, so it's gonna count. And anyway, I get excited a lot, but this is a big deal, right? 2 megawatts, that's the largest in the country, guys. You know, I know Norman's cool. We are, though. Look, we really are. Anyway, I know you know. And with that, I will take questions if anybody has any.
I just have one question about what we as a city are doing, municipal projects you mentioned. I would love to see us explore the idea of shade structures over parking lots and putting solar panels on top of those. And because A, you know, you get the solar benefit, but B, you protect your fleet of vehicles, which is a massive expense every time you have to replace it from hail damage or whatever it is. So,
no, it's super huge.
if we're gonna do anything, I mean, obviously buildings are great, but I think that's another low hanging fruit that also would pay some dividends. So.
Agreed. No, I 100% agree. And I know you probably have already seen this, but I had mentioned, I don't know, a few months ago, how excited I was. So here you get the drag, right? How excited I was about the CPRG grant, you know, and I had collected like over $30 million of projects, and one of them was covering an entire North Base with solar panel, carport, you know. And then it turns out Oklahoma didn't even get a dime. Not one dang dime for the entire state, and it's a bunch of money. Oh well, all right, you know, that's okay. Get it together and move on to the next one, right? Because that's what we got to do. And before I just have to show you this again, because I'm going to show this in all my presentations. This, as you remember, is the Cuyahoga River. It is burning. It is burning in 1952. It was on the cover of Life magazine in the 60s, but they took the 52 picture because it had bigger damage. Man, cost of doing business. That's what they said. I know it's burning, it's cost of doing business. But this is what it's like today. This is today. And there's biodiversity. There is pollution intolerance, so species that would die. So anyway, my point is, together we can do so much.
Looks like we do have one question.
All right.
Councilmember Grant.
Yeah, I didn't want to, you know, obviously I'm all up in it. So I was just curious about the low to moderate income and touching on that again. And I did talk to our sales rep about it. He was saying he was getting 2 to 3 leads from Norman a day. But we did talk about that particular demographic and if any headway was being made there. I did say that we have a 75-unit affordable housing project, and I was curious if that was one project the city was trying to get solar on, was the Crimson Flat any connection there?
So that is definitely one of the places that we've been investigating. And also, I was thinking that, well, we'll talk about it in the coalition meeting as well, but I was also gonna bring it up during that meeting. No, agree. If we're gonna have, anyway.
Have any apartment complexes been interested?
So, this is what I found out about that, which has been that has been a rough one. Apartment complexes in Oklahoma, apparently, is a thing with that kind of thing. Because of the way, I don't completely understand it, I'm not a banker. Money person. But anyway, I don't completely understand it, but it's something about the way the financing works or
Does it have to
something.
qualify for like a federal, like, check the box situation?
Yes. I'm sorry. I
know
didn't
that-
understand it when it was explained to me the first time or the third time,
I know
right?
the affordable housing project we're doing should check that box, because.
No, it would definitely fit for federal funds.
But I heard that there could be some issue with apartments and other situations. And then I do see like permanent supportive housing or I guess senior living situations where it's like group homes. But yeah, I was hoping we'd be OKC there because it sounded like they also struggled to meet that.
They only had, they didn't get any donors for the LMI program. They didn't, so we at least have a bare minimum of $25,000. And that's not a huge, if we were to say, hey, let's put panels on houses for folks with that money. What, one house, maybe two, maybe three if they donate all the labor, right? But what if, now I'm riffing, because this is, we haven't gone to the coalition committee. I don't know what people are gonna decide, and it's not my decision. But, what if we had some kind of program where we help, like reduce down payment or find a way to, I don't know, I'm just brainstorming, and that's what I figured we would do in the coalition.
And they did also have a really great example of a business that was a renter from, I think it was Vanessa House. They were able to do 80% offset, but they also, I understand working with landlords adds an extra layer of complication because you have to get their permission and all the financing that goes with that. But
That's what it was. It was with the financing and the way that the apartments and how that's structured somehow. Sorry. Anyway, go on.
oh, maybe we should ask one of our council member who's a banker.
It actually might have to do with just the metering. They might meter the entire complex and then sub-meter it, and so it's hard to figure out who's saving money and who's spending more. It's just
Yeah, it'll be
a
interesting.
weird
It'd
dance.
be cool to figure it out and maybe get one or something, but
I'm in. I love it.
or figure out a
If we could.
pathway.
Councilmember Grant, are you differentiating, your question, does it differentiate between housing projects and just private apartment complexes? Or is it kind of commingled?
I think for the 75 units of affordable housing, that got like OFA funding too.
Okay.
And there were a lot more, there was like criteria for like tracking all the funding. I'm not really sure about apartments. It's been like a real fuzzy gray area when we have the coalition meetings.
Right.
I've also, and I haven't gone to all of them. I bet Michelle has though, and I don't know if all the conversations that have happened in my absence on that particular subject,
Okay.
but it's been a struggle.
This is just my presumption, it's not based on any fact, but apartment complexes, they seem to charge a portion of the rental expense or that the tenant is paying to electricity, and I don't know if there's profit included in there, but that may cut into their profit and they may not like that.
Yeah, it's a triple net lease,
Yeah.
and so it just makes it, everything's wrapped into one.
Right.
It makes it complicated to break it out per unit. So
Right.
I could see why it would be sticky, but there's a way. There's always is. Is there anything that we can do to help spread the word? Like, is there a press release or a social media graphic that we could push out or anything?
Yes,
Okay.
there are many. And in fact, Tiffany will be sharing, the city will be sharing on our website, right? several posts as we move, and if
Okay.
you guys could share them, that would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, talk to your friends. Pick up a sign. Did you see the signs? We have great signs. I also have some hats. I'm just saying. Yeah, I think we're gonna do it, and I share some of your concerns, Councilmember Grant, but I also think that we're gonna have a pretty awesome, whatever it turns out to be, low to moderate income program too. And I think we're gonna get a an awesome community project on top. I don't know.
I'm excited for that. We appreciate your hard work on that.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you for the education.
Okay, item number 2 is the report on special events attendance and visitors. And I think that is probably Mr. Olson. Yeah. All right, welcome to the stage.
So both me and Sarah made copies, so I apologize to all. I think so. Yours might be a different order.
There's our band stuff in
Uh-huh.
the dash.
Yeah, I think so. You can hand out yours. I'll trust yours more.
All right.
We're gonna recycle this file.
Trust yours more.
Yeah, why not? All right, trying to remember 2 months ago, but in June, we did give our first report, and we're about a month behind on complete special events and visitation reports. It was an interesting conversation, so we're gonna come back here and do it hopefully every month or every month that we can. Just a quick, we handed this out and we can make this available somewhere on our website, so if people at home wanna take a look at this. But the our front page, we have the visitors, employees report. So the visitors is basically just people who do not normally track within our normal city limits and come here on a monthly basis. As you can see, and this is over the past 12 months, and if you're looking at the report, that September is our highest month. Also, if you kind of coordinate back to Oklahoma football, usually September is the most home games that we have, so that fits accordingly and kind of fluctuates from there. But I would say your average level is somewhere about 2.8 million visitors per month that somehow come to the city limits, and this could be somebody just shopping, going to Target, or grabbing a bite to eat on Main Street. So that's just people who normally don't hang out within the city limits. And the employees are just people that the Placer software tracks who work on a daily basis in here. So if you're looking at like the month of June, we had 2.14 million people that worked within the city limits. So that's just basically tracking everybody that goes to a normal workplace that resides. And here's where we kind of get to the fun stuff. So we have the major festivals that we had since the last time we met, and we were able to get some data on there. If you look at Medieval Fair, Saturday and Sunday, we're right around 40,000 people, 91,000 people total is what the Placer software picked up on that. Earth Day, which is 2,000, that's late April. Then Norman Music Festival, which was unfortunately cut by a day due to some storms. That's the reason you'll see a dip on that last day. But Friday was the high day, and it had 22,600. The Pride Festival in Andrews Park, 2,600 people. Mayfair that hangs out in Campus Corner, so hopefully one of these days we can get them back to Andrews Park when we get that redone. But 11,600 total people attended that. Jazz in June in Andrews Park, 2,000 people on Friday, 3,300 on Saturday, hanging out in the park and listening to some music. Juneteenth Festival, 2,300 people, and this is our second year of the city actually running the festival. Beforehand, we were partnering with a group, and second year of doing a larger fireworks show. So we anticipate those numbers to grow in the future. Then 4th of July, we had about 8,300 people, and this is just not counting the people that are around the park, but actually we did a fencing around inside the parks, and that's we also had rain and storms and kind of delayed our fireworks show there at the park on that day. You start looking at, we're starting to record this data from at Griffin, Reeves, Westwood, and YFAC. These are all Norm 4 projects. We want to make sure that we're tracking this, and you can kind of see. I find this very fascinating as well. So these are things that wouldn't have as many people going to these places without the investment in our own community that we did. Reeves Park, that big blip you see there that goes super high, that's the medieval fair. So rearranging, just reminding everybody, rearrange that park so it's more conducive to festivals, and also having a baseball, softball leagues out there. Young Family Athletic Center, we did not open full-time until February. We did have some leagues going on in January, but you kind of see that line going straight up. And of course, Westwood is kind of hanging down there towards the bottom. It's only open up in summer months, but if you go back in, we'll see in a couple pages, but they average about 110,000 people that roll through that in a season. And we asked all of our partners that run leagues and operating partners at parks with their events, and these pages kind of record everything that's going on during that. As you can imagine, Griffin Park a little bit slower during the summer. Don't like to get a whole lot of people out there when it's blazing hot. Reeves Park, kind of the same thing. You kind of see their higher levels when it coordinates with their events in the early summer, late spring. YFAC, or excuse me, this is Westwood. This is kind of playing with my mind. I almost said the wrong thing. WFAC. Westwood Family Aquatic Center opening up, and you'll look at the pretty consistent levels. The low level is 104,000 people going through there in an annual basis, but that was kind of right after we bounced back a full year after first full year without COVID restrictions. Going to the next page. This is what's interesting, and this is driving a lot of commerce around, especially up and down 24th Street, all the way, I would even say all the way down to Lindsay, because you can see certain places just kind of firing up, and we see where they're going to or where they're coming from. YFAC, and it kind of blows your mind that we haven't been open that full amount of time. For the past 12 months, it's only partially, but we've already had about 250,000 people that rode through that place. Shopping districts, and we'll include this every single time. You can kind of see the ebbs and flows of different shopping districts in and out of Norman. Our highest visited shopping district is the UMP. Right besides that, underneath that is Campus Corner. It does dip a little bit below Sooner Mall at a certain period, but also interesting data to see where people around town are going. And I think that might throw us into some of your stuff, but
yeah, I think we
got split.
back and forth a little bit. So for this one, if you guys are looking at this, this is our lodging data that we get from it's actual information into a system called Key Data. So the hotels systems all report into that. So it used to be historically I had to get hotel data from the hotel self-reported. As much as you try, there can be errors in there. This is the actual data. And so what you're looking at here on this page is for June, just the month of June, June 1st through June 30th. You see our hotel average stay value is up just a little bit over the previous year. Short-term vacation rental is that STVR. It's up slightly. For June, we were down slightly on our length, the average length of stay. What is good and what we will see is on another report moving forward, our pacing is going up significantly. So you can kind of see here in June our hotel occupancy and our vacation rental occupancy as well. Those dips there are Sundays. Generally, those are the days where the tournaments are leaving and not spending the night. The conference attendees and those sorts of things aren't coming in yet. So our heavily populated days of the week are Thursday, Friday, Saturdays. You kind of pick it up on Wednesdays and Thursdays, but Sundays and Mondays are our lowest days. And you can see their length of stay, and then ADR is average daily rate as well. And so this is for June. Keep in mind the July 1 SEC celebration hasn't happened yet. But if you also look at the next page, this is also just the month of June. hotel occupancy is up 6% over the prior year. Our average daily rate is up 6% over the prior year. Demand is up 6%. RevPAR is revenue per available room. That's up 13%. You see short-term vacation rental occupancy was down a little bit in June. Yes.
Any thoughts about why it might be down in June?
Short-term vacation rental? I don't know, except that we see all the events that are happening.
Jazz in June, there are short-term rentals around that park. Okay.
The other thought I might have, and we need to get a report from the city if available. How many, has an increase in the number of short-term rentals happened year over year, and so that's impacted in anticipation of the SEC. I think my guess would be that we've increased our number available, but I'll dig into that more for you and try and find out why.
And also trying to get compliance from people operating them. Not everybody's great with paying their tax.
And I think the cost relationship between hotels and Airbnbs is swapped too. The Airbnb used to be the cheaper option. I don't think it is anymore. And so people are kind of moving back to reserving hotels. I think that market might have cooled a little bit.
Yeah, you see
Would be.
at the top there, the hotel average stay value is $259. The short-term vacation rental average stay value is $739. So they're renting whole houses
Yeah.
and
I mean,
looking
it makes sense.
at that, absolutely. Let's see, do I have one more page here, guys? A couple
I
more
think so.
pages? Okay, if you continue to look here, this just goes into average stay value by month. You see short-term stay values really going up. Hotels kind of holding steady here a bit. Booking window, all of this, I can geek out on all of this data, but it kind of looks at us as we market to know where and when people are booking and what's the window that we can really make a difference on getting them to book here in Norman. So that's kind of the key points for that report. And then I think, Jason, that
I'm
we go
back.
into- You're back. I'm better than ever.
Oh, heck yeah. So these next few pages, same thing, we broke down our Norm Forward parks, or our parks that do have high attendance comparing to our operators. And this is just data that shows you where they were prior and where they went post. So you look at Griffin, and once again, in the summer, their attendance is kind of down. They're not out there running leagues. Their big leagues come in the fall and spring. But kind of ironic, they go from Griffin to Griffin. This might tell us that they're actually, Griffin's so big that they're moving, hopping in their car and going to a different soccer game on the opposite side of the park, or they're walking there. But everything through here is 7-Eleven right across the street. We've always heard, especially, and this might be an old wise tale, that 12th Avenue 7-Eleven was the busiest 7-Eleven in the state for a while, especially when baseball was out there during baseball season, and it's probably still carrying through. If you go look at Post, they're going to a lot of restaurants, going shopping at different places. If you go flip the page and start looking at Reeves Park, you traditionally have a little bit more tournaments going on in your baseball area. So prior to you have a few hotels at the top. Looks like people are sneaking over to the golf course. That might have had a little bit to do with the golf tournament we had out there, Corn Ferry. They might have been parking there and going from one place to another. Once again, you have restaurants before, restaurants afterwards. My kids, when they go play sports, their favorite thing is go get ice cream afterwards. So, yes, Brahms is definitely on there. The Westwood Family Aquatic Center, the same thing. You kind of see people beforehand or somewhere in the UMP, then come down there, or Walmart going there, and I might be getting sunscreen or towels before they get out there. Some of them are grabbing a little bit of lunch, but afterwards it's the same thing. They're going shopping, or they're hitting a drive-through on the way home. Looking at the Young Family Athletic Center, you do see a little bit difference from this. This is where you're having people coming and staying multiple days for whatever they're happening there. UMP, a lot of times that they're either shopping or hitting a hotel. Embassies are right up there at the top. People leaving there to go to the YFAC. and a bunch of restaurants up and down here. And then I'd like to point out as much as I can that Spring Hill Suites is showing up on here. We don't. Hopefully in the future we can get more hotels where that's we don't have other communities popping up on there. We want them to stay in Norman when they're playing in Norman.
Councilmember Grant.
Quick question, so I remember Fadeaway Hoops tournament from the last discussion. So that is the yellow, kind of around the May, that's the little bump there.
Yeah.
And is that something we host regularly?
Fadeaway Hoops is they're a tournament provider that's based out of Oklahoma City, so we actually have them more often than anybody else.
Yeah, I'm noticing like the other dates in June.
So some of these other ones, you have Puma or Made Hoops, which is associated with Nike. There's a few groups that are offshoots of Adidas or other shoe brands that are kind of named a little bit something different. But Fadeaway Hoops is basically, they've cornered the Oklahoma City market on just having these tweener tournaments that happen between the big shoe tournaments.
I would say June 29th one looks like another spike. Okay, good to know.
I'm just curious on the WIFAC one, what's driving the Gilliam music?
I don't know, maybe somebody's going and jamming afterwards, huh? They gotta pick up some chords.
I just thought that was a weird correlation. It's up there, number 3 on the list, so I don't know, just kind of curious.
Yeah.
If there was an event or something that happened, but anyway.
And it didn't really happen in June, but we started hosting a few events that, and we'll see when we have our July report. We hosted our first cornhole. So that was mainly adults, the first event that we allowed beer sales inside the WIFAC. So, I mean, you'll start seeing more as people get used to this place. And we started pretty hot with basketball and volleyball and stuff like that. As people start to get to know the space, I think you'll see more adult events happening in there.
Okay, I think it's back to me. All right, so this one is really cool, and I've been excited to be able to look at it. So this is our lodging pacing report, and this is looking at about 8 months prior, 8 months ago, and 6 months ahead. So this is accounting for 6 months moving forward and what's being booked. And these numbers are continuing to grow up. I ran this report on Tuesday. I just ran it again, and you see their hotel average stay value is up 197% from historical stay value previously. When I ran it again today, so just 2 days later, it's 203% up. So it's continuing to go up. The hotel average daily rate, which is what gets us our guest tax and for our arts and our parks and sports commission and everything else, is up 155%. 2 days later, it's up 159%. So these numbers are continuing to increase. The other one that's really cool to see here for the next 6 months, our length of stay is up 2.1 days. And I think we can attribute this, and we'll go down and show you here in a little bit on the next pages. A lot of this is attributable to the SEC, but additionally, a double-digit increase in our freshman students, so you're getting more parents coming and looking at that. So if you turn the page and look here at the average stay value, if you look back here, some of those in the navy blue, those peaks are football game weekends. Or you look in April, May, graduation weekends, those types of things. The lavender or purple color is the future, what we're seeing already booked and what's in the pipeline. And so you see there, those spikes of football games are going up double, triple for average stay value. You look at the average daily rate, ADR, average daily rate trend again. Once again, we saw small spikes. We thought there were big spikes for football previously. We're seeing huge spikes in our average daily rates for future football games as well. And then length of stay is going up significantly also.
I know this is not your department, but do you remember how many away game tickets we give away for SEC games? Or how many OU gives away?
So
10,000?
don't quote me on it if the paper's listening or watching in here, because it's OU, it's a number. But previously, I want to say that it was 1,500 for Big 12
Okay.
tickets and those schools. So 1,500 to 2,000 sticks in my mind. I'll have to confirm that number for you, but they could give those back you, and then they would sell them to people from Edmond or Yukon or other. And when they're coming from the metro area, when they're selling them last minute, it's coming from local metro areas, and they're not coming as long, they're not spending as much money, they're not doing that. For the SEC, it's 5,000 away game tickets, and they cannot give those back.
Oh, wow,
They
okay.
have to use them, and I don't think those fans for the SEC schools are not traveling anyway. So you'll see
Absolutely.
some soft periods for like opening game weekend, Temple.
Sure.
That one's still high because it's our first game in the SEC. But you look towards the end of the season, the SEC schedules usually have what were referred to, if there are any Maine fans here, I'm sorry, but cupcakes. So Maine is towards the end of the season. I would imagine that's a little bit softer as far as the numbers go, but you're looking at Tennessee, South Carolina, Alabama, that we're seeing.
Random facts I want to throw in about Maine, our first New Balance school we've ever played.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I
Yeah.
knew I had you here for a
There
reason.
you go.
Um,
So this 443, that's, okay, that's not daily, I'm seeing now, that's 200. So that, but that's driving,
443 is the average stay value.
and that's being buoyed up by those hotel, or those football weekends potentially, or big
Right.
event weekends that are,
Absolutely, it's
Okay.
being buoyed by those, but
Okay.
you're also seeing, I mean, that's including all the other days too, the Sundays where people aren't staying, it's
Sure.
including the main weekends and everything else. So, it's comparing to previous year where everything's the same, but it's all going up.
do you think there's a certain point where it's unsustainable? Like we get, our prices locally get so high that people are going and staying in more, potentially other areas? And I know Moore didn't have the hotel stock that we do, so it's,
No, I don't think so, because we have 3,000 hotel rooms.
okay,
And there are 86,000 seats in the stadium. So no matter what happens, the metro area loves game weekends because the people that are price conscious have always stayed in other places.
right.
And then you look at the other SEC schools, Ole Miss or Tuscaloosa or somewhere like that, you're looking at significantly higher rates than even what we're trending for Red Roof Inns and Best Westerns and other things. So
Okay.
I think the SEC fans are used to that, and because we are the only SEC school that has a major metropolitan area
Sure.
with a stone's throw away, there are other options as well. Those that you pay a higher price if you want the college atmosphere with the energy and the stadium in your back. And
Okay, that's good to know.
So-
That's good.
Yep, so you see the stay value trends, you see the ADR trends on here, you see the length of stay, all of that is trending in a great direction. And that length of stay really gets me excited because not only are they staying in our hotels, but they're shopping in our shops, they're eating at our restaurants, they're contributing retail, nightlife. I mean, those dollars are going to help support all of our local businesses that help us have a better quality of life. Absolutely. So these are just, I mean, we go into it, you see the months and so this is our spending summary. If you turn, let's see, a couple pages later, so I am looking at the page that says, spending summary. So once again, this was just for June. So in June, the average visitor spend was $116. We get this data as Zardico, a company that provides this for us, and they have all four major credit cards: MasterCard, Visa, Discover, and American Express. So average spend there of 116 in June. You can kind of see the average visitor spending by month from August 23 through July of 24. It's kind of neat to see, and you can see year over year, last year and this year's average visitor spend. So we'll be digging into all of this a bunch more now that we've had this 1 month. So I'm still digging into everything and getting to see. But if you'll turn the page to visitor spending by category, what's interesting to me here, what are your visitors spending money on in your destination? So food is the top one, and you can't dig into it on the paper here, but when I can drill into it, a big percentage of the food spend is at grocery stores. And so if you think about this, visitors are from 25, Zardico counts visitors from like 25 miles or more away from Norman. We get a huge chunk of spend coming from at grocery stores, coming from people outside of Norman here. So they're coming and doing their shopping from our rural communities that don't have all the same options that we do in spending. But then it also is restaurants and fast foods. You see their accommodations account for 16, almost 17% of the spend. Then retail is 16% of the spend as well. So they're coming, gas and service stations and nightlife. That was, once again, just in June. If you turn the page there, average visitor spend by category, you can see the numbers on accommodations, transportation, food there, retail, attractions, nightlife. I'll have to dig into transportation and find out exactly why that was so high. But we can drill down and see those things on there, so.
It's not gas.
No, it's not gas, so I'll dig into it and get more on just that month, but then you see the demographics here. And we struggled, I sent Sarah probably 15 reports. I mean, it's just so much data that we can dig into. So we tried to pick out what was valuable for you, but you see here demographics of where people, how much they make, where they're coming from, age ranges, all of that fun stuff. So if you all have thoughts on, hey, I would really like to see maybe something like this or that, if I can do it, I'll print it out and do it. So just holler at me with ideas,
Yeah.
and I'll see if we can provide you the data.
No, absolutely. I think the, the month-to-month, kind of how we're tracking, that's really important. The month snapshot, I guess you do include a calendar of events up here, so that is helpful to know what all events happen and everything. So it's just, I think this is great. I would love to see this, like I said, month to month, especially as we transition in the SEC and all those home football games. But appreciate the work, definitely. Does anybody have any questions?
Just a slight observation. Today I was in a meeting and they said that the hotels are moving from two night minimums to 3 night minimums during the season.
Interesting.
In that at least one of the hotels is fully booked on that. Which led me to think about short-term rentals and how that would probably and most likely increase. Because now if you want to stay in town, your only option probably would be a short-term rental.
That's interesting.
And then the food, or supermarkets being shopped at leads me more to confirm that assumption, because when you stay at a short-term rental, you go and buy food and you stick it in the refrigerator and you might cook breakfast and then you go to the game. Or, because at hotels, you probably just go down to the continental breakfast, or you probably keep the restaurant.
That's right. Well, I love all this increase because obviously hotel motel tax goes funds things that I'm very passionate about. Parks, arts, sports commission, Visit Norman. So the more people we can get to stay at our hotels, I think the better.
More hotels we can get. would
There
be
you
even
go. I
better,
like
too.
it. I like what you're thinking.
Yes, a question about that. If OU has 86,000 seats, and we only have 3,000 rooms, is that what you said?
Ish, give or take a few here, yeah.
Okay. How many, I guess, between visitors coming in, what is the differential between rooms and the ability to, capacity to serve the visitors?
Depends on each game,
Okay,
right? The first game versus Temple or Maine, much fewer visiting school fans.
okay,
So more but you still have a lot of, and we can pull it out, and during football season, we'll look at this of the zip codes where they're coming from.
Right.
But I'm sure you're still having, of OU fans, a lot of away game, Dallas and Houston and other places where they're coming in. I would never advocate to build the church for Easter Sunday, so where we could handle all the fans that want to come for football to stay in Norman. As much as those weekends, that would be great. Those properties would need to stay profitable the rest of the year, and they just
Right.
couldn't do it. And, everybody's a competitive market, and people have things that they want to look for, and the Metro provides a lot of that. So it's a blessing and a curse in that we have OKC so close, and they have a lot of options of hotels and attractions and nightlife and things. So we are always going to have some leakage of people going to do that, but the key is, how do we market to them? And we're already doing that digitally and through print and other things to say, come here, stay here, spend your money here. Campus Corner is looking at ways to do Friday night parties and pep rallies before the games with music and other things. So just providing more things for people to do, but we're always going to have only a fraction of the hotel rooms, and those people then that stay other places in the Metro get them to come here more often and stay longer and spend more while they're here. So some of that has to do with time of the game. We have less 11 o'clock games now, and that's extremely helpful, I think, and shows in some of these numbers coming up. We probably do need a few more properties and those, but certainly we're not going to ever meet the
Right,
demand
yes.
for those game days.
Yes, I agree.
Well, I also, the way I understand it, sorry,
No, wait.
a lot of SEC fans travel by RV as well, and so there's that component.
Yes.
Being able to, just a refresher, do we collect hotel motel tax on RV sites?
We do not. To my understanding, and I would want city legal or other city staff to weigh in on this, but my understanding is that it would take a vote to add RVs to the guest tax. That would be something that I would support and recommend, especially with the new kind of luxury RV park coming on board in the near future, I hope. That would be one that, those are visitors coming to town, and it would make sense for me to have that added on. But I believe to add it, it's not a resolution. I think it would be a vote, but that would be
Public
something,
vote, not a council vote.
a citizen vote.
Gotcha, excellent.
That's my understanding, but let's clarify that.
I
'Cause
think
I'm
if
not
we're
an attorney and didn't stay in a Holiday Inn Express.
We got
last
one.
getting some head nods back there.
Yeah, it changes the definition of what the original vote applied to. It's just not within the realm. It refers literally to a room. This is a parking space.
I tried.
Well, yeah,
Jason, what do your weekends look like at YPAC next year?
Right now, we're at a pace where we've got so many tournaments booked that was told today by Kellen, which is our supervisor out there, he's deliberately turning down tournaments so that he can save spaces for our local leagues and other, like Fadeaway Hoops, which is a local tournament provider, to make sure that we have offerings that local kids can play in. Because normally, like, if you have a Made Hoops or an Adidas or some kind of tournament like that, that is not necessarily serving our local population.
Do you know if Rod Wave Elite is coming back?
I don't know anything about that yet, but that was a get. I don't think that got recruited, but then, and that was our YouTube famous basketball team that came here, and I sound so old when I sound, if my kids heard me say YouTube famous, they would get mad at me, but literally a social media well-known team that came here and had, we hit capacity at YFAC to let people in, and it was interesting.
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate the presentation. I'm sorry.
Sorry, no, you're good. Just one more question, it's probably filled it at Mr. Sturts here, Public Works. And it's about the RVs, so, if it's not, you can answer on this too. If the language in the ordinance is only surrounding rooms, could parking be charged to park your RV for days?
If we had any lots potentially where they could park RVs, that could potentially happen. But most places where they'd be doing that are usually on private property. Most of them, in fact, right now, almost all of them are off the Lloyd Noble, which is university property, so we couldn't benefit from that.
Scott, our RV, and I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but a big chunk of them are at Lloyd Noble, but they're not full hookups.
Yeah.
And then you have the most are out at Lake Thunderbird. That's federally owned property operated by a state department. And then the county also has, so another
So all
public.
public, yeah.
So all public.
Interesting.
So that's why this new one coming online will be so important.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, for anybody that's listening that wants to get it in the market, I think there's room. So, well, definitely appreciate the presentation, guys, and if there's nothing else, I
Thank you
think
very
this meeting is
much.
adjourned.
It's gonna help my